Morning. How the devil is everyone? Hope you're all well. Hope you're well. Welcome to the new improved Foxes Aftermath show. Hope you're all good. It's going to be the same old me talking a load of rubbish, but a new improved system that I've had to be taught on this week. So if I make a few mistakes, please just bear with me for a moment. Right. Also today, we're going to have a bit of a special. We're going to have some couple of down under Foxes. So I'm going to bring them in. First of all, we have Lee from New Zealand. You all right, Lee? How the devil are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And then we have Josh from Sydney, but they're both born and bred Leicester. So how are you, Josh? You all right?
Good, yeah, good. How are you?
I'm good. What's it like over there? The weather-wise, is it pretty damn good, or is it just it's getting your winter now, isn't it, over there? I think, yeah.
Yeah. So here it says 21 degrees today, not too bad. But it's first day of winter tomorrow. So
first day of winter tomorrow, or
yeah,
doesn't get that
another
cold.
21 degrees, not too bad.
Oh, is it? Is that about the same with you, Lee? Is that how hot it is there? And that?
Nah, we're about 12, 13 degrees and getting down to sort of freezing zero overnight. A few frosts now, so
blimey!
Yeah, our turn to have some winter.
You still scrape the windows and everything like you used to do back in the UK, all the frost off the windows.
Yeah. Occasionally we do have to.
Blimey, I'm glad I'm here in Alcudia. It's a lot warmer than it is there at the minute. Right, I just say there's quite a few people saying hello. Anthony saying hello. Morning, Anthony. Mark saying hello here. They're all start joining us now. What I'm going to talk about so far today is most people know it's 27 years ago we played Swindon today, and 26 years ago yesterday we played Derby in the playoff finals. Now they were pretty big things back then. So what's your actually memories? We'll start with Lee on this one. So what's your memories on the two playoff games, Lee?
Yeah, we're going quite a way back. It put me on the spot a wee bit there. I can't remember too much of that. I'm only 34 myself, so it was just about the time that I was starting to get into watch with Leicester and get out there. And I remember players like Claridge and Joachim and Oldfield, and then it turned into the Muzzy Izzets and Neil Lennons, and then obviously a few years after that, it just kept on going. But now it's very, very vague. Those memories are
very vague. You've had a lot to
do. Much information about that
over the last few years. You've had a lot to do, haven't you? Really moving over to New Zealand and that.
Yeah, well, I came out 2005, so I've been here 15 years now. But obviously, the first few years I was here, we were down in League One Championship, and you couldn't really see much of us on the TV, and we were just itching for Leicester to get back up the top so we could watch us on the Premier League, which they do show quite a lot of here. And then, obviously when we got up and then did the Great Escape, and then the year after to go and win that league was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it's actually a privilege to just watch us on TV every weekend.
Yeah, but it's nice
going in the title and stuff like that. Just
walking
stay
around
up and just keep watching
us.
And Josh, what are your memories of it? Can you remember? I know you're about the same age as Lee, aren't you? Have you got?
Yeah, same. I'm 34 as well. So I was only 8 or 9 years old then, but I don't really. Well, I do remember it, but it was. I was a bit confused on who I should support back then, I suppose. But after a few years, I worked it all out and obviously chose the right team. So.
And what was it like for you when in Australia? Were you there in Sydney when Leicester won the league, or were you still in the UK?
Yeah. No, I've lived over here since 2008. So I was over here. I actually, one of my good mates is a Priority 1 season ticket holder, so he managed to get me a ticket for the Chelsea game. So I flew back for the weekend, and I have another mate who works for the club who got me a VIP. Had lunch with the players and everything, drinks before they got on the open top bus. So it's absolutely crazy weekend. I left here on a Thursday night, landed UK time Friday morning. So he went to see surprised my family on Friday morning. Then on Saturday, went down to London. Sunday, the Chelsea game. Then Monday was the open top bus. Then flew back here on the Tuesday morning. So it was crazy.
That's a long weekend. That must have been. Yeah. I bet you slept for about a week, didn't you, afterwards?
Sorry?
I bet you slept for about a week afterwards, didn't you?
Yeah, it took me about 2. I think I was still on the adrenaline for the next few days at work for that week, but the following week I was dead for like 2 weeks. I really struggled.
I'm tired.
Same as Lee with the League One and everything. Obviously not shown over here. Get the odd championship game that's on Sky, or Foxtel over here, or Optus as it is now. And then once they're in the Premier League, then you can watch all the games. So yeah, it's a lot better now.
And is that the same in New Zealand, Lee, that you get a chance to watch all the games? Can you pick and choose?
Yeah, you get it all live over here. You sort of sign up $20 a month, and you buy the package, and you can get any game live. Which I always get up and watch Leicester, but then they're always on 3 a.m. You know, depending on your night games over there, or our mornings here, 8, 9 o'clock, where you get away, start work a bit later and get those games in. But usually you're up Sunday morning, 3 a.m. watching us, or 4 a.m, whenever the clocks sort of change. But yeah, it's a big advantage. It was actually, I got back at Christmas and I was lucky enough to get to 3 games. Managed to watch Liverpool on the Boxing Day. I managed to get a ticket for that game, and man, how phenomenal were those guys? Like they're different level, weren't they?
Yeah,
they were fantastic, that Liverpool side. To watch them live on that night game, Boxing Day night, and just, it was unbelievable. They just tore us apart. They just did not let us play at all. And I was like, man, these guys are good. These guys are really, really good. And they're, like I say, they're probably the best team in the world right now. Or before the lockdown anyway. But, they're playing the best football, win the Champions League last year. Fair play to them this year, I think. Fair play. Josh, they were just phenomenal.
Josh, do you know Adrian that well for him to put that comment on there?
I don't know, but they're the wife's new kitchen. If you really want to know, oven, hob, etc. Obviously, we're all in lockdown, so this is my work office at home. So
all right.
Oh,
I see what you mean. Yeah, I thought you knew you then for a minute. So what's it like being a Leicester fan over in Australia and New Zealand then? We'll start with Josh. What's it like being a Leicester fan there? Do you walk around with your chest puffed out for the last 4 years? Say, yeah.
yeah. It's been a roller coaster. Obviously, I think probably the same as Lee. Not many people knew us or knew of Leicester, apart from maybe Premier League fans back in the day. But then obviously since we won the league, I'll walk around and people will say, "Oh, Leicester, great job!" Like, Jamie Vardy and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And like Lee said, I structure my whole weekend around watching the game. So go to bed early on Saturday generally, and then up at normally 2 a.m. depending on the time of the year for the games, 2 till 4. And obviously the kids are all asleep until we score or last minute equalise or something, and then wake everyone up. But yeah, apart from that, it's and Champions League games and things like that are in the morning here. So it's very different, I suppose, but you get used to it. And it's been really weird not having that structure, because I love watching sport. I love watching motorsport as well. So really structure my whole weekends around that, and it's been a bit strange recently.
Is that the same with you, Lee? You plan your weekend, everything completely?
Nah, you just gotta get to bed 10:30, 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. Get up, set the alarm 5 minutes before kickoff. Get on, log on, in you go. Watch the game an hour and a half, hour and 45. Back to bed 5 o'clock. Then it's still Sunday morning. Lie until 10 o'clock maybe. If you get lucky, and then get on with your day. And then watch all the highlights in the morning, which is a good thing. You can get up and just hit the button, boom. Yeah, I want to watch all the highlights of what's happening in every game. So that's my Sunday morning pretty much, and then it's family in the afternoon.
I mean, it must feel weird watching the games to us, that stupid o'clock. For you, that must be normal watching games at that time of day.
You get used to it. You really do. Yeah, for me, there's nothing else obviously at that time in the morning, and it's quiet. The kids are not, running wild, so you can really concentrate and watch the game. I'm normally like Lee, I set my alarm 2 minutes before kickoff and get it on my phone as I walk downstairs and switch on the TV, and then yeah.
And is the
lunchtime kickoff? The lunchtime kickoffs are quite nice because that's about midnight Saturday night. So if you've had a few beers out after a game of footy on a Saturday afternoon and go out to the pub for a few beers, you stumble home and get home just in time for kickoff. They're the good ones, and end up falling asleep on the couch.
And the missus waking you up about 4 a.m. Are you coming in bed or not? You're not coming in bed?
Yeah, she's used to it now.
When I first came over, it was go out on a Saturday night, leave the club at 1:45 or something, race home 2 a.m. in the morning, then watch a game. eating your pizza or whatever after your night out. So.
Oh, not kebab then, like I used to do, walking out of Brannigan's at 2:00 in the morning, going for a kebab. Don't they do kebabs over
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there many Leicester fans in New Zealand, Lee? Do you bump into many, or is there many other Leicestershire people there?
Yeah, you're always bumping into English people over here. There's plenty of us about. You know, I do know a handful of Fox's fans over this way. I was playing in the football community, playing football. You come across the odd one. Not too many, but you know, there's definitely 4 or 5 that I know around Christchurch.
I know Sydney's got quite a big British population, hasn't it, Lee? Josh. So is there lots of Leicester fans there as well?
There is. I actually live about an hour north of Sydney. So I don't really go into Sydney or anything for the games, obviously. I just watch them at home. But there is a few people around here. It's really funny as well. Like Lee said, I just my wife met some women through the school that my kids go to, and then ended up that one of them was one of their 5 or 6 ladies, and one of them's from Leicester, and they used to work in the hospital that I worked in when I was at uni. And it's such a small world. It's crazy.
Oh, I think Lee's. Are you still there, Josh?
I'm still here.
All right, it broke up a bit a second there. Say that last thing again about the hospital bit.
Yes, people that we met, my wife met, and they were from Leicester as well. So it's crazy. And they used to work in the hospital, and they met these 2 other people met in the same hospital that I used to work in when I was in the UK doing my work experience at uni. So crazy. It's such a small world.
That's good. And is there many like Australians? I'll start with Lee. Is there any like New Zealand fans that have gone from being a Liverpool fan to a Leicester fan, or is there many people like that in New Zealand that have swapped clubs because of what's happened?
No, I wouldn't say so much that. I'd say over here they're not as diehards, you know. So like a lot of my friends I found were quite happy when we won the league. They were quite quite happy about it to see us win the league and see where we'd come from, what we've done, and to have a different team on that Premier League trophy was quite good for the whole of football, you know. And it just showed to everyone around the world, didn't matter how big a club you were, you know, what we did was unbelievable, you know. And it just shows that whatever you try your hardest at anything, and you could get there. You never know, you know. Just keep working hard, and it's pretty much the Kiwi mentality as well of how the All Blacks go, and they just never give up and just won't go away, wouldn't lie down, you know, and just keep climbing the ladders, you know.
I think everyone thought we were going to fail towards the end of it. To be honest, there was a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not going to last. It's not going to last," but we stuck at it, and it happened. Is that the same with you?
That Man City game, wasn't it? Man City, and even though we were all thinking we were going to, and then when we beat Man City, it was like, oh, we could do this now.
Yeah,
you know, now we can.
That was the game for me as well.
Yeah.
That was the game for me.
I thought it was the West Ham game where I know the Man City game was fantastic. And we thought, but the West Ham game when we drew 2-2, when Leo scored that penalty, I thought, that's it. We've won this. That was the time I thought we'd actually won it. The Man City game was when I thought, we've got a good chance at this. But my nerves couldn't take it. All them 1-0 wins. You remember all them 1-0 wins we had?
Yeah. The last sort of 7-8 games were just nail biting. It was crazy. And when we won it, obviously the Chelsea. Who did they play? Spurs. Chelsea Tottenham. Game. That was morning our time. So
how did you two celebrate? At that time in the morning?
I jumped in the pool. It was like 2 degrees and it was so cold. But I was just there. I just text my boss, I'm going to be 2 hours late into work. I'll see you later, and just couldn't hold back.
Don't blame me.
It was the same. Yeah, driving around, and then I packed up at my first job in the morning and sat there with it in my van, watching it on my phone, and then see that Hazard goal went in, and hopped out the van, ran around the workshop, and the guys are, what's going on? It's like, Hazard's just scored. And like, what are you on about? For the guys, they don't realise how hardcore you are and how much you love it, you know. And a lot of rugby fans here, they just don't get it, you know. But it was unbelievable.
Yeah, because it's more rugby in New Zealand than it is football, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah, definitely more rugby. But football is catching up. Football is definitely catching up. It's getting bigger and bigger over here.
Yeah. Right, we'll talk a bit about modern day football now. We've talked about history. Lee Chapman's asked, you all know Chappie, the old Vardy lookalike. He's trying to forget about looking like Vardy now. He's cutting his hair like a Peaky Blinder now. She's trying to look like one of the Peaky Blinders instead. So Adam Alana or Philip Coutinho, if you could have one of them, or do you think we could have both of them, or do you think it's impossible to get either of them? We'll start with Josh on that one.
I would definitely say Coutinho. I don't think Lallana even cuts it for our squad, to be honest. He'd be backup at best, Lallana. Yeah, definitely Coutinho. It'd be amazing if we could get him. The only thing you worry about is if he's had his day or he's past his best, because he hasn't been great for the last couple of years. But yeah, it'd be amazing signing, don't get me wrong.
Do you think the Brendan Rodgers factor, Lee, would make him come to Leicester? Because he knows Brendan Rodgers quite well from his Liverpool time.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, if we're going to be a big Champions League side, they're the type of players that we're going to have to try and attract. I'd definitely take Coutinho. I'm not sure about Lallana, as you say, but he'd be a good replacement. Maybe if all Brighton wants to go, though we love all Brighton, but same again, if we want to go to that next level, maybe a few of these older guys have got to move on, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely take Coutinho, and maybe Rodgers can pull a few strings there, and maybe
hopefully. You're talking about Albrighton, Lee. Every time I look at Josh's shirt, that's the only person I ever think about. Mark Albrighton scoring that first goal in the Champions League. Every time I see that shirt, that's it. It's like
I thought it was appropriate because that's obviously what we're chasing for the next 9 games is Champions League. So I was like, better wear the Champions League. So
I take it. Oh, Josh, you know this bloke, don't you? Oh, John.
Yeah.
Squires.
John used to be my manager when I was playing football in Ellistown in Leicestershire. If anyone knows that.
He's my hashtag mate that started hashtag Magic Mender a couple of years ago. But yeah, you both sound, your accents go in and out, a bit British and a bit Australian or New Zealand, whichever it is. You both haven't lost it, but you both have got the accents as well.
Well, normally I come back each year in July, but obviously that can't happen this year. So I'll have to. But yeah, I agree. It's really funny. You probably get this too, Lee. People in Australia know I'm English, and people in England know that can just hear the Australian. So yeah, we're sort of in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. When I go back sort of every Christmas, every second Christmas, if I can, and you sort of adopt the language when you go back, and your parents and your brothers and your friends all start talking to you again. You kind of start talking in their lingo again, and so you come back over here and they're like, oh, you sound like real English again. And it's like a week later you're back to normal kind of thing. But even the kids pick it up as well when they go back to the UK and they start talking like Nana and Granddad and my brother would go over there, and it's like, what are you doing? You don't talk like that, but you start talking back in the language that people are talking to you in for some reason.
Yeah,
you just get used to it. It's all memory, isn't it? It's all memory. It's like muscle memory that I've lost years ago. It's all in your head, how you speak, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, Naren's asked a question off YouTube. How far do you think Leicester will go in the Champions League? Do you think it'd be similar to what it was 3 years ago now, isn't it? Do you think it'd be similar to then? Then we'll get a decent run, or does it depend on what we actually get? We'll start with Lee on that one.
Yeah, you never know. I think if you can get out of the group stages, we've probably done well. If you can get one more after that, and see, then you're playing the real big boys. So let's see what happens. Just to get there will be nice, and it'll be nice for the fans that can get over to Europe and visit those destinations and play. Just being part of it's probably going to be good enough for us lot if we can get out of the group, like I say, and then maybe one more knockout after that. That's all you can really go for, and that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Go on, Josh.
I think it'd be pretty difficult, depending obviously where we finish in the league, because I know that obviously because we were champions, then we were coefficient 1 or whatever they call it. But finishing 3rd, 4th, we'll end up with a really tough group. So I think it'd be amazing if we could just get through the group, because we'll have 2 massive clubs, in the group. So to even get through the group would be awesome if we do make it.
Yeah, I think it will be that.
Even the Europa, you fall into the Europa League anyway, don't you?
Yeah, there's some tough trips there, though, isn't there, going in Europa League? Like Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan.
Halfway
And
to
Israel.
here.
Yeah, it is. It's closer to you than it is blind to the UK and in Europe. It's near after Europe. I forgot what I was going to ask then for a minute. Oh, yeah, somebody says, we were on about Coutinho a few minutes ago, and they said no one ever thought we'd get Cambiasso. So there's still a chance that Coutinho might be able to come here, because who would have thought Cambiasso would have ever played for Leicester? I mean, how much of a player he was when he came. So there is that chance that Coutinho could come. So here's hoping. Let's put it like that.
Who knows? I think if we make Champions League, guaranteed Champions League football, for me, it'd definitely be a first 11 starter. So, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, there's a few people saying about the European League won't go ahead because we won't be able to travel. But I think some travel will be allowed. I mean, in Australia, has or are you still stuck in? Can't you travel at all at the minute?
Yeah, no, our borders are closed. I think it's the same in New Zealand as well. So we can't even go interstate. So we can't go out of the state.
Right.
But it is starting to open up, and they're talking about maybe in July or something being able to travel Pacific Islands and New Zealand or something. So yeah, I actually work for Qantas, so I know how much of an impact it's having.
Oh, right. You're one of the lucky ones then that knows what's going on. Not many people know what's going on.
It's crazy.
So out of all the players, there's a few players that are going to be leaving as well this year. Do you think many will leave? Because there's Fuchs and Wes Morgan that might get new contracts. Do you think they deserve a new contract, or do you think they'll be part of the coaching staff, or do they deserve, or do we need to look for more younger players nowadays? We'll start with Josh on that one. Oh, go on.
Yeah, I think Fuchs has got another year in him for me. I think he's doing a really solid job this season. Whether he wants to stay or not is obviously another question. His family's in America, so yeah, I mean that's Fuchs. I think Morgan is past it now for me. I think he's, this season's been good. He's been back up, or he's played a few games, but yeah, I think that Morgan, hopefully they'll offer him a coaching job. He might, maybe he'll go back to Forest and play a season in Championship or something like that. I don't know.
Don't say Forest, Josh, on here. Be careful what you say. I swear.
Well, he came from there, so.
Well, yeah.
And like Lee said, I think I'd love to see some of the other players stay, but likes of Albrighton, if we really want to make the next step, then maybe it's a bit of a stretch for him now. Mendy, maybe it's time for him to go on. He hasn't really. I quite rate him, although he gets injured quite easily. But he's not played many games, so maybe it's best for him to go somewhere else as well. We've got a really, we've got Slimani, we've got Silva still there, so we've got a strong squad. We need to really clear some of that. We've got some good backups in Chowdhury, etc. So I think sell some of the they're obviously on big wages, so sell some of those players and bring in some Coutinho or whoever can really take us to that next level for me.
Yeah. You were saying, mention Silva and Salami there, Josh. Lee, do you think we ought to get rid of players like that haven't really played a lot of games for us the last couple of years?
Yeah, well, both of those guys, aren't they? They both haven't really been given a decent chance at it. I mean, Slimani, I like the look of him. I really like the look of him. I thought when he did play, he did do all right. He just doesn't complement Vardy quite well enough.
Yeah.
Similar to Nacho, I think they both would have done the same job, scored the same amount of goals. I mean, Silva didn't quite cut it for us, did he really? Similar to Mendy, similar sort of player, just can't quite get in there. I mean, we've got Pratt, we've got Ndidi, we've got Chowdhury, who I really like. I like his work rate. Tillman's just in front. I mean, he's been a bit dicey this year, but Coutinho, if we can get someone like him in, Barnes out left is just fantastic,
he's come on leaps and bounds.
Matty James or Brighton, these guys might have to move on. Like say Morgan, Fuchs got one more year left. You can strengthen a little bit, bring 3 in, 3 out, and let's see, see where we go.
Yeah,
Perez for me as well. Perez is has been the weak link, if anyone, this season for me.
He's not done a lot,
very
has
up
he?
and down.
Yeah, very up and down. Yeah,
he's not done enough.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you're 30 odd million or whatever, I know it's not a massive amount nowadays, but it's a lot for us to pay, and you've got to really, you know, deliver on the scene. He's had most of the season. He hasn't done that much for me. That's the position for me that we need to strengthen, and we definitely need to get someone as striker in the summer or the end of the season to pre-plan for Vardy. I think he's probably only got one more season where he can play every game for us or be first choice. So we need like a Callum Wilson or someone up there. You know, you can guarantee them maybe they play all the cup games and half the Premier League games, and Vardy plays all the big Champions League games and the big Premier League games or something. And then after that, they can, you know, Wilson can be the number one and Vardy can be the backup or something like that.
Yeah. On the just the last question before I let you go, there's 9 games to go in the Premier League. Some have got 10, most have got 9. They're being played behind closed doors. Now, I think over in Down Under, they're actually playing games behind closed doors already. In the is it the NFL, the National Rugby League? Is it they're playing?
Yeah, NRL. Yeah.
What's the feeling like there that they're playing behind closed doors? Is it working or is it not working? I don't know. How's the feeling in Australia about or New Zealand playing behind closed doors?
The NRL has about 5,000 people go to every game anyway, in 50,000 seat stadiums, so it's probably not much difference. But it's a bit strange, and you know, you've got like the cardboard printouts of people in the stands. It's a bit weird, but I don't really go to many games anyway. We used to when we lived in Sydney, but not nowadays. It's a bit strange. Like you say, it has restarted here, but yeah, you can hear all the players, which is quite cool. You can hear the ref, and so that's a bit different. I think it'd be really weird to be in the UK and not be able to go to the games, but for me and Lee, that's kind of normal for us. So
and me, it's like being out watching them on the dodgy box I have, and it's strange that you're not there watching it, although you are watching it. So it's just got to be the same for me, really, not being at the ground. But I must admit, I do enjoy watching it on a Saturday afternoon. In New Zealand, Lee, has the rugby or football started up there yet, behind closed doors, or is it?
Well, we've just started to play community football's just started back. They've just made our numbers go out to 100 people in a gathering. So we've just started this week. Well, next Saturday we get our first games, and all the kids can go back and play football. I mean, the kids have been back to school for 2 weeks now. It's starting to feel like a bit more normal over here. Apart from like the borders aren't open. Tourism's taken a big hit here, which is mainly a lot of our revenue.
Where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at least we're getting back to some normality. It's going to be a new normality, and football's coming back soon, so it's better than nothing, isn't it, at the minute? Which is one good thing.
It's essentially replaced the Premier League, the Euros, because there's going to be games every day, and it's pretty. I'd love to be in the UK, watch it, you know, in the summer and the light nights and stuff. It'd be really cool.
You'd need plenty of Red Bull and pet pills to keep you awake watching all them football.
Yeah, that ain't possible over here. Otherwise, you can't go to work.
Well, that's not a bad thing, is it? Watching football instead of going. Right, I'm going to say thank you for coming on, you two. It's been much appreciated from Down Under.
Thank you.
I'm glad to speak to you. Get a different point of view instead of everyone listening to my silly slobber every week. It makes a change. At least I've been able to have a rest instead of having more drinks all the time. Josh, I'm going to drop you out. Thank you. Hold on, I've got to learn how to. Cheers, pal. Thank you, Lee. Thanks a lot for that. Right. Speak to you again soon. Right, there you go. Hope you enjoyed my my little show. So I'm glad to speak to you. I'm going to love you and leave you now. So it's goodbye. Sorry, it's not goodbye. It's adios. Ciao, ciao. Goodbye. Top of the morning to you. See you next Sunday.